What's up, comic and pop culture fans? This is James with Mint Hunter Comics, and I just had a colossal eBay fail happen to me, so I thought I'd make a video out of it, turn a negative thing into a not positive thing, but interesting video at least. First things first, guys, I want you to go ahead and subscribe, comment down below. What's the worst eBay nightmare or false advertising you've ever seen? It doesn't have to be a comic book thing. It could be a bicycle, maybe a movie rental, whatever. Guys, I'm gonna show you these ridiculous looking comics that were labeled as mint and never read. We're gonna talk about the story, and then at the end of the video, just for fun, we're gonna take a look at one of the comics and give it a grade based on an Overstreet Guide's grading system. All right, so first things first, here's the post. Check it out. Notice how it says condition mint. In further description, it says never read. Now, in case you were wondering what it was a bunch of Green Lantern comics. I collect a bunch of high-grade Green Lantern comics. I don't even care if they're not keys. I just collect them. Well, I was intrigued when I saw these mint, never read comics, but there was only one picture and it was quite blurry. But you know what? The seller rating wasn't that bad. I've definitely seen worse, and he labeled them as mint. He also advertised them in bags. So I thought, you know what, maybe some of these are gonna turn out not even near mint, but there could be some gems in here. Well, one manila envelope later, yes, that's right. So these, let's go ahead and show you here. A bunch of later Green Lantern books. Now, these books, immediately when I opened it, I was concerned because it arrived in a manila envelope, and maybe that's why it's got some busted corners, but the first thing I saw was this shot right here. I'll put a picture up so you can see. These spines are busted. Keep in mind, these were advertised as mint, never read, and in bags. Let's go ahead and count, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23 spine ticks on this copy, and I got a couple busted corners and visible soil on the covers. So not only can I tell, maybe these were just stored terribly, no, they were clearly read many times, and it looks like this one actually might have had like coffee spilled on it. When I open up the books, and by the way, look at these little dog ears I've got in the back. When I open up the book, I see some outrageously terrible foxing. Do you guys know what foxing means? That means when you open up a comic book, sometimes when they're not stored that great, or even sometimes when they're stored great, when a book gets really old, you might see evidence of foxing, which is the outer edges of the comic start to really fade and turn. So not only is this nowhere near mint, but this doesn't even get white pages. It doesn't even get off-white to white. I would put this as either off-white pages, or possibly some of these are getting into, believe it or not, the cream to off-white pages category. So that's quite indicative of bad storage. These look like they were stored in a grave. This is ridiculous. This is probably the sharpest one of the batch because it only has a small busted corner and probably only 10 spine ticks. Still on the back, I see a lot of soiling and just generally just not very sharp. The nightmare continues. I messaged this dude saying, hey, these are about as mint condition as Clint Eastwood. And he did get back to me fairly quickly, but he said, well, I can offer a 25% discount. I was like, look, buddy, I'm not buying low-grade comics. I bought high-grade mint comics from you. I'm not interested. Let's either do a return or, you know, we got to talk a little bit more than a 25-cent return to me. So finally, after this back and forth, and there shouldn't be this back and forth. Like, dude, you got caught red-handed. I sent him pictures. Look, there's even divots in these covers. He red-handed, blatantly, these are in terrible condition, and he labeled them as mint. And he was actually really fighting me back on this. The nerve, man. Finally, last night before I went to bed, he got down to being like, okay, I can do a half off. I can return 50% to you. And at that point, I was just tired. I went to bed. Luckily, this morning, I woke up and I did the return thing through eBay, it accepted my return request, and I got a message from the guy saying, if you return these books and I'll give you a full discount. So after honestly a long time of back and forth with this guy, I'm finally going to be able to send these back off and hopefully get my return. That was so unnecessarily difficult. And unfortunately, I promised him early on when I was messaging him, like in the beginning, when I was like, look, I'm not going to leave a bad review, just make this right. But you know what? He really dicked around with me for so long, I kind of feel like leaving a bad review. Plus, I do feel that there's a responsibility to leave a bad review so that he doesn't pull this crap with members of you, the community. Let me know down below. I did tell him I would not, but that was before he decided to be an asshat. Let me know down in the comments. Should I leave a bad review for this guy? I don't know. Now, this has happened before. This is probably the worst case scenario I've ever seen. I've seen ones where they'll advertise like, oh, it's like a 9.2 near mint minus, and it comes in and it's more like a fine or like a fine minus. But this is like advertised as mint, and these are quite honestly, some of these I would actually call poor condition. So without further ado, let's take one of these comics, I'll pick a random one, and then I'm gonna go over each and all the flaws, and we're gonna assign a grade based off of an Overstreet Guide grading system, just to show how much BS this guy is feeding me. I might as well do this one. This was the one that was sitting right on the cover. Guys, we're gonna start off by looking at a Green Lantern 211. At the bottom right-hand corner, we have over a centimeter long bashing on the corner. Moving up, we do have some tears and rips on the right-hand side, a bit of an odd spot. Definitely shows signs of fingers running through it. Look at this ugly inch-long rip right here. Moving up, it's clear there's some discoloration and foxing onto an otherwise still intact upper right-hand corner. The book itself has some divots and soiling on the front cover. When we move over to the spine, it's clear that not only is there some minor soiling running way down, but we have color-breaking spine ticks every centimeter or even less running the full length of the left-hand spine, which meets at the bottom for a somewhat damaged left-hand corner. When we open the book, it's clear that all pages are present. However, we do notice some foxing and discoloration around the edges of the book, showing signs of page quality deterioration. The staples are intact without signs of rust. However, there is more divots and soiling on the inside bottoms of each page. Guys, I'm going to read sections of a Overstreet's Guide to a 4.0. They describe it as an average used comic book, showing some significant moderate wear, can have an accumulation of creases or dimples. Corners may be blunted or braided. Some discoloration, fading, foxing, and even minor soiling is allowed. Minor to moderate staple tears and stress lines may be present, as well as some rust. Paper is no worse than brown but not brittle. A minor acidic odor can be detectable. Minor to moderate tears may be present. When I read this, I'm close to assigning a 4.0 to this book. However, I do think the lack of staple issues and certain virtues do allow the book to get a slightly higher grade, however, not that of a 5.0. So I arrive at a 4.5, which is considered very good plus, with off-white pages. The highest graded book in this entire batch probably couldn't even get a 6.5. All right, guys, let me carefully put these together. You know, the funny thing is, I'm going to ship it back to him. I'm going to ship it back in such better condition than how this guy sent it to me. It's going to be ridiculous. But I'm going to do the right thing. I wish that he would have done that. Hey, what are you going to do? That's my most recent, unfortunately. I wish I could say that's my horror story. That's just the most recent. This is why I love comic book shops. This is why I like meeting up and doing deals in person. Support your local comic book shops. Don't forget to get out there and keep on hunting. Use those eyes. You are going to catch way more things that could ever possibly show up on an eBay posting. And be wary, if it's one kind of blurry picture, really take it into account. Don't be afraid to ask them for more pictures. I don't know, maybe I just got lazy or what. The funny thing is, I actually, seeing these now, I don't even think he took a picture of these issues. I think he found another picture online or something. Because these spine ticks, they would have showed up, even though it was a blurry picture, they would have showed up. So anyway, just be careful. If you really want to verify something's quality, don't forget to double check and ask questions. As always, guys, keep on hunting in person.